How did a routine blood donation expose a hospital's darkest secret? I was 21, sitting in a campus blood drive truck outside the dining hall, filled out the forms, cracked some jokes with the nurse about my fear of needles, and gave my pint. Easy money. 2 days later, my phone rings. Red Cross lady on the other end sounds nervous as hell. She's asking me weird questions. Have I ever gotten a blood transfusion? Bone marrow transplant? Been adopted? No, no, and no. Then she drops this bomb. Your ID says you're O negative, but your blood sample is showing AB positive. I'm like, that's impossible. She tells me to get retested at my doctor, so I do. Same result, AB positive. But my whole life, every medical form, every physical, everything says O negative. That night, I'm freaking out. I call my mom and ask if there's something she never told me about my birth. She gets this weird look and goes silent for like 10 seconds. Finally, she says, "You were really sick when you were born. We almost lost you, but you got better. That's all that matters." Something in her voice made my skin crawl, so I decided to dig deeper. I requested my birth records from the hospital. They gave me the runaround for weeks, said they couldn't find them, then said I needed more paperwork. Finally, after threatening to get a lawyer, they handed over this thin file. The paperwork was wrong. Everything. The baby on these documents had my birthday, but different blood type, different weight, different discharge date. Even the tiny hospital bracelet photo looked off, like similar, but not quite me. I kept reading and found something that made my stomach drop. 2 babies were born in the same ward that night, within 5 minutes of each other. Both rushed to NICU. One was listed as baby boy A, and the other as baby boy B. One of them died. But here's the thing that made me want to throw up. The death record had my name on it. I spent the next month at the courthouse, digging through old lawsuits. Found one filed against the hospital 22 years ago by a couple whose newborn died. Details were sealed, but it mentioned loss of a newborn under suspicious circumstances and hospital negligence. I confronted my parents again. This time I wasn't backing down. After hours of me basically interrogating them, my mom finally broke. There had been a mix-up. The hospital told them their son was dead. They were literally planning my funeral when the hospital called back saying there had been an identification error. They gave me back to them, but now I was thinking something way worse happened. I got a DNA test. Results came back. I wasn't their biological kid. The real parents were still alive, still married, still wondering what really happened to their baby all those years ago. When I found them and told them the truth, they cried for 3 hours straight. They'd always suspected something was wrong, but never had proof. The hospital tried to offer us money to keep quiet. We said no. We wanted answers. An old nurse who'd worked there that night finally contacted us through a lawyer. She was retired and didn't care about protecting the hospital anymore. She left me this voicemail that I'll never forget. That night was complete chaos. 2 babies coded. One came back. One didn't. In all the confusion, they mixed up the identification bands. When they realized what happened, the baby who survived had already been given to the wrong family. Nobody wanted to admit they'd screwed up that badly, so they just let it happen. The doctor who was in charge that night had retired years ago, moved to Florida. When reporters tracked him down, he claimed he didn't remember anything about that specific night. But I remember everything now. I remember being the baby who lived when I should have died.